Yeah, hoy, 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 and welcome to Happy Chappy Corner, the entering into 2018, happy last day of 2017 series. I thought I would chit chat a little bit about about coming into a new year and being able to really try to find that peace that the world cannot give, if you will. If I were to reflect a bit upon my 2017 and even 2016, I should introduce it a little bit like this. So we live in a society, and we've even created a god of earning and of climbing a ladder. So you've got to climb this ladder. You've got to become this, that, and the other thing, and then you've got to always be getting better, and you've got to be getting the bigger thing. And it's this idea of ascending to God and reaching up to God. But it's quite interesting. What I've learned in my life, and what I've read, and what I've been realizing is that it's not about ascension, and oddly enough it's about descending and taking things away, which is completely countercultural to how our culture teaches about life. So we spend a lot of our life and this needing to be that way at the beginning of life, and as we're realizing who we are and discovering things about ourselves, we build these things that create us, and that we find that we tend to realize who I am by figuring out who I'm not. And just this and you get this self-confidence as you are creating yourself, and things like all things that are really, really important. But the next step is super important as well, which is the step that you realize that, wait a minute, all of those things I've been building up around myself, and even these different ideas of concepts of God or whatever it may be, they aren't my truth. They aren't what make me who I am. And it's usually those moments of descent, those moments of struggle, that we realize that wait a minute, I that can't be all that I am, because I don't have that anymore. And so now what does that make me if I don't have that anymore? Or if who I thought I was maybe isn't who I ended up really thinking that I am from what I'm going through. So my 2017, so I found myself, it all started when Jacob was 3 months old, and I was standing in the living room, and all of a sudden everything started to spin. If you've ever had vertigo before, oh, fun, nope. And everything started to spin. Luckily, I wasn't holding Jacob at the time, and I fell over on the couch, and so that happened, and it kept happening, and I got a whole bunch of tests done, and I got a whole bunch of CT scans and things like that done, and there was all of this waiting and all of this worry and all of this questioning for me, because this dizziness wouldn't go away. It was just constant. It was there all the time. And so I couldn't do these certain things, and I had all these things that I wanted to do but I couldn't do, and all of these things that I thought made up who I was, I couldn't do, and I had these anxieties, and I had these fears, and then the panic laid in when I started thinking that if that's who I was, if that's all that I am, then when I lose those things of me, of who I thought was me, it's really scary. But it's in that descent that I ended up discovering, and then in that suffering that I ended up discovering so much, and I ended up learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Thanks be to God that it's not I'm healthy. It's an inner ear deficiency that causes me to be off balance most of the time. So it's a life-changing thing, but not life-threatening. But for me, it got me questioning, like, why, God? Why would you be doing this to me? Why would God test me like this? And it got me diving into spending time in prayer. And the conclusion that I came to is that God wasn't testing me. I don't think God is doing this to me. But what as I've released these ideas, what I've learned is that God is, however, holding me through it, that this is happening, and God's plan for me. So God's plan for me is to hold me and to guide me through what it is. God doesn't orchestrate the tragedy, but God carries us and holds us and loves us and sustains us through it. And so as I was broken down health-wise in different ways, I really became to be aware of what is it, that and the soul felt its worth. Where do I get my worth? Is it in what I can do? Is it in what I can say, what I can write, where is my worth? and what I've discovered and what I keep discovering is that there's nothing I do. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. It's just there in the image and likeness of God within me. That's my worth. And it's nothing. And we have a culture of earn and climb and earn, but it's not. It's as you lose things and as you break down this inner construct that you have of how things should be, and there has to be a right and there has to be a wrong, what you realize is that there's this deep, beautiful truth that you can't own and that you can't control, and it's complete mystery and complete, but at the same time it can be endlessly understood. And you realize it's not just lived in your brain of if I could just think more about it, or if I could just, we have to be able to let go of that and live it in our hearts and live it in our bodies, and find that these deep sacred truths, you can't latch onto them, but you have to release. You can't grab anything new if your hands are like this. You have to be able to release them and open them and realize that, wait a minute, that truth in me recognizes the truth in other places, and it's absolutely beautiful. So it's not about anything to do with titles. Jesus never says worship me. Jesus never says create this very specific religion for me, or whatever it may be. Jesus says follow me. So Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life is meaning like, just look at how I live. Look at the way that I'm doing this. And this spirit of truth, where there is love, where there is reaching out to the poor, where there is caring for the widow, where there is showing the dignity in every single human being, where there's truth right there. And it's not owned by anyone, and it's not owned by any label. It's just complete beauty. I think that a spiritual community is super duper important, and I think that going to for Mass, what it is it's a coming together as community to realize I am not alone, and I hear words about being loved, and I know that I am loved, and I hear, Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, God, give me, I need your mercy, I need your love, as I love how Nadia Boltz-Weber puts it, being a part of this tradition that's been for thousands and thousands of years and tying into your story, into that story, it's absolutely incredible. And she says, I need to hear that I am loved. I need to hear that I'm a part of this bigger, beautiful, sacred dance. She says, I need to hear that, and excuse the language, but she says, and you know what? Nobody says that shit to me at yoga class, which I thought was quite funny. But just the need of community and the need of connectedness, of healthy community and healthy connectedness, and the need to hear that we are loved and that our worthiness stems from the deepest core of our being, and to be able to worship God, not because God is some big head in the sky, but because I need it, because I need to be reminded of this incredible beauty, the incredible beauty in life, because everything else can kind of suck you in. It's proven that in your brain, negative things for some reason stick like Velcro, kind of like my head looks like right now. Velcro can stick like Velcro, and the positive things and the good things that happen, we actually need to meditate and savor them for at least 15 seconds for it to stick. So you can keep that in your brain from coming into this new year. So here's my wishes for you in this new year. First off, may we realize that we talk about falling in love. We don't talk about climbing and earning love. It's not, so when you ask, when do you first fall in love? You don't ask, so when did you first earn each other's love? At that beginning, there's mystery and there's wonder and there's awe, and it's not about control, it's about excitement. And so that's, I think, to kind of rediscover that in the falling, there is that's where the spirituality can really expand and can really realize, wait a minute, I'm so much more than my thoughts. I'm so much more than my worries. I'm so much more than these things I've made around me. I am love. And then you're not so worried about getting to heaven, but being heaven here on earth, but being love here on earth. And it's incredibly, and the truth shall set you free. It's incredibly beautiful. So here you go. In this 2018, this new year, may we find ourselves becoming a new creation. May you find yourself enchanted with life. May you find wisdom in your suffering and avoid the quick fix, but sit through that suffering. And learn from it. May all that you do stem from the core of your being, who is a beloved child of God. And once your soul has felt its worth, you realize that you are so much more than your thoughts and feelings, and you realize that your story is connected to the stories of all of creation in this sacred dance since the beginning of time. And you realize that it has nothing to do with you, and that, or the you who you thought that you once were, but it has everything to do with the I am, with this great connectedness to all of creation. And then you realize, once you realize your life isn't about you, you can become about your life, and it's incredible. So may you be about your life. May you live in wonder and awe with each breath. May you be more in love with mystery than control, and may you allow that love of mystery to open your heart to see your connectedness to every other person and creation on this earth. Happy New Year. Blessings, grace, and peace. May you be returned to who you already and always have been.